Hello and welcome to Tarot Arts Anjali. Today we're going to do a reading on what is my life purpose and any career guidance that you need. So you have three piles in front of you. Pile number one with this golden flower, pile number two with this blue flower, and we have pile number three with this pink flower. So just take a moment, meditate if you have to, and you can select whichever pile you want to, and then go to the description to the respective timestamp, and then we'll start your reading. Hi, pile number one. If you chose this golden flower, then this is your reading. We'll first begin with your tarot cards. What is the life purpose or what career guidance do we have for pile number one? What life purpose or career guidance do we have for pile number one? All right, pile number one. So, what I see is there's definitely a sense of worry or anxiety on some level about your career at the moment, which is why you might be seeking for some external guidance, some advice to help you through this phase. So I'll just begin with the cards that we have in front of us. So starting with the Four of Wands, I see that in the past, or at least how the situation has been for you so far. It has been something joyous, something to celebrate, and you've been in a phase for a while where you felt really satisfied, where you felt fulfilled with your career options, with your career opportunity, but maybe that same level of enthusiasm, that same level of satisfaction, maybe that's not present here at the moment, which is why it's been a bit of a cause of discomfort for you. It's been um, you've been having a lot of sleepless nights because of this change that has taken place in your career. So it might be that for some of you, maybe the Four of Wands, it also gives me a message about some recent celebration. So maybe for some of you, you've recently graduated, or maybe for others who recently had a celebration, whether it's a new job opportunity or a promotion or something of that sort. Like in terms of your career, in terms of your professional life, recently there has been a cause of celebration, but now things aren't as perfect as they were earlier, or maybe there has been a source of stress or anxiety in the present, which has resulted in sleepless nights for you. You've been really worried, you've been anxious, you've been trying to find ways to deal with this worry. And like that's the anxiety, the worry, the sleepless nights, these are clearly depicted in this Nine of Swords. When it comes to your mind, when it comes to your thoughts, you've been feeling really worried, you've been feeling as if things aren't going the way that you had anticipated, and that has been a major cause of worry and stress for you. But as a reassurance, we have this lovely star card which shows us that just hold on for a bit longer. Just make sure that you are somehow able to get through this. In terms of spirituality, we call it a dark night of the soul, which is when on some level we go through an ego death, where our earlier perceptions, our earlier ways of thinking, they are transformed and they give way to something that is for our best and highest good. So maybe on some level, um like for those of you who recently graduated, maybe it was in a course or in a program that you weren't really happy with, or maybe when you had chosen that program you felt that that was the right thing for you, but right now you're feeling as if, did I make the right decision, or did I make this decision for the right reasons? Whether this was something that you really wanted to do, or was there any other external pressure that made you choose this path. So there has been a lot of worries on that end. And for those of you who are in a career that's already established, or you have been working for a while, this Nine of Swords here, this sort of shows me that maybe on some level you discovered for yourself that you weren't really happy with how things were going, and you wanted some change in your life. And now that the change has come, or maybe you have chosen to create to bring about that change in your life, it has been a source of anxiety for you. But as I was saying, with the Star card, it shows me that after a dark period, after this dark night of the soul, energies are shifting around. They will definitely move around where you feel that it's almost as if a new hope has entered your life, and the previous energy of darkness, of worry, this complete contrast here from the the energies of really darkness clouding you is transforming into much more brightness, things really working out in your favor. And with this card here, there's sort of a duality that this character has one foot in the water and one foot on ground. So this sort of is a message of balance, that right now maybe before this, you in terms of your career and path, you had been following along a certain option which maybe it was only fulfilling one of your needs. For example, you needed something to establish your independence or get some financial security, but now you've realized that maybe I wasn't fully listening to myself, or maybe I wasn't fully paying attention to what my needs are. And now you've discovered that there's maybe something else that gives you hope, something else that feels is a lot more it's a lot more fulfilling for you. So that's something that you've been wanting to do or wanting to shift into. And the main guidance that I have for you, it's actually coming from this Tower card. And I know that this card, the imagery in this card, and just in general, the tarot is not a card that we like, or we don't want to see it come up in our reading, but it has a lot of messages, it has a lot of guidance that comes forth. So the most, like, on the surface meaning of the tarot card is that there has been weak foundations onto which something has been built, and because those weak foundations weren't addressed, it led to um, things falling apart eventually, or feeling a sense of things not going my way, or things being forcibly snatched away from you. So maybe for some of you who for whom this these sleepless nights, this darkness, for those of you who feel that you're going through this, maybe it might be because you've recently lost a job, or something that has gone wrong in terms of your career, or maybe even there has been this sense of um, how can I explain this? So, for example, for those of you who are still students, you really wanted to apply to a college because you felt that was your dream college and dream university, and maybe a course that you felt that this is something that I really want to do. But now that you're in it, while you're actually experiencing it, maybe there's a sense of, did I make the right decision for myself? Is this the right choice? And that's where this Tower card comes in. It tells me that maybe on some level, your the foundations, or the reason why you chose this course, you chose this path, maybe they weren't fully aligned with your best and truest self, and maybe that is why there has been these long periods of dissatisfaction, of feeling as if things are really going in the completely opposite direction as what you had envisioned, and that has definitely been a major source of anxiety. But now what can we do, or how to move forward from this? So for that, we have the Queen of Swords card here, and this is a really positive card that your tarot reading is ending on, because with this card I see that you have a lot of this, like, intellectual strength, your capacities, your ability to be truly logical, to find your solution for yourself. And on this aspect, you are really that's one of your major strengths, that no matter what difficulty comes your way, you always manage to find a solution for yourself. You always manage to see the situation from all perspectives, to apply your own practicality into it, your logic, and to visualize, to see for yourself what is it that's going to be the best decision for me. And that's a strength that you have. And what I really want to tell you right now is, don't lose out hope that things are not working in my favor and they're always going to be like that. Like, that's a limiting belief that is holding you back. That is the major cause of your anxiety at the moment. So, the main guidance that I have for you, first of all, when it comes to these sleepless nights, this major source of worry and anxiety for you, for that, first of all, just remind yourself that it's not the end of the world. That yes, things might seem at the present that they're not really working out in your favor, they're very stressful, and you're maybe even questioning yourself on many levels that, what am I doing with my life? Is this the right thing for me? And many such doubts that are present. So just accept those and don't let your own thoughts and fears overpower you. Try to remind yourself that you are in charge, you are in control, and you can take your power back. You always have the choice to turn your life around. And I know on practical levels, it might not always be possible to immediately turn our situation around. For example, if you've already accepted a job, or if you've already quit a job and now you're looking for something else, or if you've already applied for a program, you've paid for it, and all of that. So it might not be very practically feasible to just turn things around, to just shift to something else. But still, give yourself hope, um, give yourself this pat on the back and tell yourself that you have endured through so much. And again, this cause of celebration in the past definitely tells me that your journey so far has been really, you've put in a lot of effort, you've created your desired outcomes. It's just that right now the direction that your career, your professional life is moving in isn't as satisfactory, which is what's been causing you a lot of trouble at the present moment. So just, that's the first guidance. And secondly, question your reasons, question your intentions for choosing a certain path or for going in a certain direction. What exactly is it that drives you? What exactly is it that made you choose this path? And then through this questioning, through this aspect of self exploration, self discovery, you will come to some insight about, okay, that this is what I really want to do, and now what steps can I take forward with that? And the major source of strength that I see for you guys, that I see that, this is a quality that you possess and you can really, this can be something that pushes you forward in the right direction, is this deep intellectual capacity that you have, this power of reasoning, of dealing with logical situations, of planning so well. And with this, that even though this is a really positive card in terms of having all the resources to make the right decisions for yourself. But sometimes this can be a bit tricky, and I'll tell you why. It's because sometimes we get really bogged down by planning excessively. Like, we want to have control over every single aspect of our lives. We plan, we choose every single option, like every single option that we have, we go through the pros and cons of it, we create a detailed plan, we even, and obviously that is a strength, that is something that we need to do, because we can't just be impulsive and go with any decision. But at the same time, the pitfall lies when we think that we really have control over the outcomes. Yes, we might be to some extent predict what's going to happen, but the actual outcome is often not in our control. So that is also a limiting belief that we need to let go of, that we need to work on. That yes, planning is going to help me, but no matter how much I plan, I can't ever have full 100% certainty that this specific path is going to give me the exact results I want. So yes, plan, tap into that resource that you have, this logical ability to find the right answers for yourself. And once you've made that decision, just let that go without excessively worrying about what if or what the outcome is going to be and trying to find certainty in that situation. So that's the guidance I have for you when it comes to the tarot card. And now we'll move into the archetype cards, which will tell us what tools or what resources are going to be the most helpful for us moving forward. So I have these archetype cards for you, and I'll pull out three cards or three main tools, resources, strengths that we need to tap into at the moment for the best results. All right. So we have these three archetype cards for you. So first of all, what I see here with the star bond. So for For pile number one, if on any level you feel that your journey so far, maybe your childhood experiences or just how your academic life has been so far, there is definitely a sense of, like, I don't really want to use labels, but a sense of being the gifted child, being someone who onto whom a lot of expectations are placed, and this is not always negative. Because some expectations, they drive us forward, like other people believing in us, believing that there is something powerful that we can do. But that turns into a bit of a challenge for us when we hold on to those expectations very tightly, or it doesn't always have to be internal. Maybe it's just that people around us have really drilled those expectations in our minds, and we've set up a certain standard for ourselves that we have to achieve. And even though it's really effective to have goals in mind to strive towards, but at the same time, if we really create these rigid standards for ourselves, then we'll never truly be happy, because there'll always be this sense of I can do better, or what I'm doing right now is not good enough. So this actually connects with what I was saying earlier with the Nine of Swords card, that what is my major source of anxiety or worry at the moment? Is it that you feel um, not good enough or not entirely competent enough in what you're doing right now? And for those of you for whom this Four of Wands, for if this card, if you resonated with the meaning that there has been a recent cause of celebration in the past, a new job situation, entering a new program or something of that sort. So for those of you, for some of you, I feel that this cause of worry has not entirely been because things are externally too difficult at the moment. And again, not to invalidate if there's something really difficult that you're going through, but I also feel that maybe some of it will resolve on its own if you just give yourself some time. Because with the Starborn, what I feel is there's a sense of a lot of emphasis being placed on your abilities so far, and it has been drilled into you that you have to be perfect, that you have to be a certain way. But again, we also need to understand that sometimes when we step into a new role, or when we just start learning something, we can't expect to be immediately perfect at that. And I can actually just give my own example here, that I've just started my tarot channel, and this is my second reading. And if I have this expectation from myself that just now, or just immediately, in within just 2 3 videos, I'll get a lot of subscribers and a lot of views, and I put that as a rigid expectation for myself, it's definitely going to result in a lot of worry and anxiety for me. Because yes, it's nice to have a goal, but at the same time, I can't be too rigid with these goals that I'm setting for myself. And the second card, moving on to the Pilgrim card, with this, what I see is right now, what I was saying earlier with the Tower card, that um, what is this reason that we chose this path for ourselves? What was the drive behind that? And this card comes in as a question, or as a reflection for yourself, that um, why did I choose this path? What is it that I truly worship? And again, worship doesn't always have to be on a level of a faith or a religion or anything of that sort. But what is it that you really feel that you devote yourself to? What is that aspect of yourself, or what is that um, need within you, that value within you? And it can be something as simple as holding the value that whatever you do in your life, as a life purpose, is something that is to help other people. If that is if that is a value that you hold close to yourself, then that's something that you devote yourself to. And now, this relates to what I was saying earlier with the Nine of Swords, with the restlessness or the anxious thoughts, the worries that you've been having. Maybe that some of it is stemming from the fact that in the career you are in right now, or the path that you're following right now, or the exact situation that you're in right now, a little bit of discontentment is coming from the fact that your values aren't being honored. If you hold this value of wanting to help other people, maybe on some level you've realized that in the actual work that I'm doing, I it's causing harm to people on some ways, or it's work that's not really creating a direct impact. So on that level, the guidance for you is to, even before coming to the deeper question of what is my life purpose, what do I need to do, sit with yourself and ask yourself, what are the values that I hold close to myself? What is it that I'm striving towards? And maybe once you do that, you will yourself find that, okay, these are my values, but what I'm actually doing is not aligning with that. And then try to look for ways in which you can make that happen. So that's the second guidance for you. And finally, with the shadow card, which is the final archetype card that we have for you. So this is an aspect of yourself that maybe is something that you want to address. And actually, for this, I'll also pull out the last card that we have for you to give us some indication about what this message might be. So we have the three of swords for you, and this is actually the Swiss tarot deck, and I'll put up the name in the description as well. So the imagery in this card is a bit different from what we have in our traditional Rider Waite deck, and the shadow and the card that you chose in the beginning, Three of Swords, this tells me that on some level, um, when it comes to your career, when it comes to your life purpose, it addresses a specific wound that you have experienced, which you want to heal in others. I'll try to explain this with an example. So, for instance, you've experienced emotional challenges in your life. You've been through phases of not being your best self, not being your happiest self. And that is a challenge that you've had to deal with. And maybe that has resulted in this need within yourself to make the situation better for other people, to make sure that, the values that I was talking about earlier, maybe one of your own values is to um, help others in their own healing journeys. And maybe that's a need that you have from within, but you haven't really tapped into that. And right now, it's leading to a bit of this discontentment, this dissonance that I was talking about earlier, because your current situation when it comes to your career and life purpose isn't really connecting with what you really want to do. So, the main messages or the guidance that I would like to conclude your reading on, and before that, I actually want to say that right now, as I looked at the recorder, the it was 2222, so maybe that could be of significance to you. And even here we have the 20 card in the pilgrim. So two is, sometimes about decision making, about choices. So what I feel is maybe right now you're stuck between two choices, you're not really sure about which path to go forward with. And for that, I will ask you to first just reflect with yourself, first of all, what my values are, what are my own needs and drives. Second, what are some unrealistic expectations that I've set for myself? And finally, to sort of sum up the answer to the question that what is your life purpose, I feel that that life purpose is deeply connected to your own shadow aspect, or your own journey, your own difficult experiences. Maybe you have had to endure something that you want to change in the world or in your immediate surroundings. For example, if it's maybe a social or a political issue that has really impacted your personal life, so now you want to make sure that others around you don't have to go through something similar. So you might be engaged in a job related to public policy, or if it's something, again, the example that I mentioned about own journey of emotional difficulty, so maybe you want to make sure that other people don't endure that. So you might be in a field related to mental health or social work or things like that. And again, it doesn't always, have to be that it's, like, again, not to say that only a certain job will fulfill a certain aspect that you're trying to address. Like, if your value, if the goal is just to help people or to make other people's lives better, so it's not just that only one specific type of career will address that challenge. All different kinds of professions can help you in tapping into that problem, creating solutions for that on various levels. And, like, again, with something as complicated as mental health, we have mental health professionals who try to work more on the aspect of healing or helping people to get better or find their own solutions. But someone else might try to address the same exact issue by addressing the very root of the problem, which is why do people have these challenges? Is it because their lives are lacking certain resources? Then how can you work on providing people such resources? So these are questions that I would end this reading on. That's something for you to reflect on. And again, you can let me know in the comments below if this is a reading that resonated for you, and if there's anything new that you could think of, or maybe on for any of the cards, if there's any other message that came for you. So again, ending the reading on, you have a lot of power, you have a lot of strength. There's just certain things to reflect on, to work on, and I feel that you have a really brilliant journey of you ahead. And just sort of ending with this Queen of Sword card here, that there is a lot of growth, a lot of learning that's coming your way. So just stay true to your power, just stay focused in where your goals are, what your intentions are, what are your values that are driving you forward, and you'll have a brilliant path ahead of you, which is going to make an impact not just for yourself but also for the people around you, your community, or on any level that you want to create a change in. So thank you so much, pile number one, for joining this reading. And comment down below if it resonated or anything else you'd like to share. And make sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more readings in the future. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Hi, pile number two. If you chose this blue flower, then this is your reading. We'll first start with your tarot cards and we'll see what messages come through. Then we'll go to the archetype cards for any resources or any qualities that you need to work on at the moment to fulfill your life purpose, to come closer to attaining that. And then we'll finally see the final message through this card here in front of us. So I'll just shuffle all your cards and then we'll get to the meanings, and then we'll see what guidance is there for you. File number two, what are the messages related to life purpose, any career guidance and messages for file number two related to your life purpose, to your career. All right, file number two, let's get to your tarot reading. So first of all, I just want to note here that you have two major arcana cards in your reading, and that tells me that right now you're at a point in terms of your career, in terms of working towards your life purpose, that is full of a lot of learning, a lot of growth, a lot of challenges your way, and nothing too difficult that you can't overcome, but definitely a lot of growth and learning in terms of the experiences that you're having right now. And before even getting to the cards, I just want to tell you that this is definitely a very remarkable point in your life, and there's a lot of changes to come forth. So let's get to your reading. The first card that we have here is the Hierophant, and I'll just show you the card. So this card here, when it comes to your career and life purpose, it tells me that um, maybe on some level you have, in the past you've had some challenges or some difficulties, or maybe just misalignment or disillusionment, like whatever feels best for you when it comes to institutions or people in authority. Like there is a sense of um, your personal values not really aligning with those of the institutes or organizations or universities or whatever it has been that you have been a part of. There has been a sense of feeling that your true self or the values that you hold dear to you aren't really honored the best in the institutions that you have been a part of. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the institute or organization or body of authority as a whole, but maybe on some level it's just that with um, maybe a specific teacher or a specific boss in the past, or colleague, or just maybe some specific member, some specific team, some specific project that you had to do. There is some sense of feeling that you weren't truly honored, or your maybe on also on some level that your competencies weren't really acknowledged. There is definitely, and I'll come to that in your second card, but it tells me that um, on some level you felt disrespected, you felt that you have a lot to offer, but all of that hasn't been recognized. And definitely, when we talk about motivation in any work that we do, whether it's career related, life purpose related, or just any work that we do in general, everything has either an intrinsic motivation to it or an extrinsic motivation. When it comes to intrinsic motivation, that is something that we do which is internally rewarding for us. And even if there's no one else out there to applaud us or to celebrate us, we still feel very empowered or fulfilled when we finish that. And when it comes to extrinsic motivation, that is something where maybe the task in itself, the job in itself, the activity in itself isn't as pleasant to us, but just because it is maybe impacting someone else, and then they tell us that you've really helped me, and that gives us the motivation to keep doing that. Or maybe someone else is acknowledging our efforts, someone else is praising us for the things that we're doing, and that becomes the source of our motivation, which keeps us moving forward, which keeps us driven to keep following that path. And now, when it comes to you, pile number two, what I see here is maybe on some level, this aspect of extrinsic motivation has been absent because of the setting that you've been a part of. Maybe you've really put in a lot of effort in the work that you do, but your boss hasn't acknowledged those efforts, or you've gone beyond your job description, maybe even done more than what you were expected, but there was still no acknowledgement of the effort that you put in. And maybe on the other hand, maybe not just that, but you were also criticized, or your mistakes were really pointed out, when on the other hand there was no acknowledgement of your own abilities, your own strengths, and that has resulted in this feeling of um, just feeling disrespected, feeling that you're not honored, that your abilities haven't been acknowledged. And maybe that's why that has been the major source of your discontentment at the present moment when it comes to your career and life purpose. And what I also feel is, maybe on some level that has also led to these questions about, is this even the right path for me? And that is something that you're really thinking a lot about at the present moment. And just if that is a thought that comes to you, then my first guidance for you is to just stop for a while, pause and think, um, is my discontentment with the job at the moment, or with what I'm doing, is that because of the job in itself, or is it because of the external environment that I'm not being acknowledged in what I'm doing, and which has led you to question whether this career as a whole is right for me or not? And just off the bat, an example that's coming for me is maybe someone in something to do with advertising or marketing or customer relations, or something of that sort, where you're interacting with a client, and maybe just you've had a couple of tough clients, or a tough boss who hasn't acknowledged your efforts, or has made you question your own abilities and competencies, whether you've you've been asking yourself, am I even good enough in what I'm doing? So for that, just pause for a while and think, is it really that you aren't competent enough, or you haven't been doing well, or is it that your environment around you is something that doesn't let you feel that you're competent enough, feel that you're good enough, and doesn't acknowledge the abilities and strengths that you have? So first of all, that is a question that I need you to ask yourself, and see what comes up for you in that reflection. And coming on to the second card, we have the Six of Wands here. And with this card, what I was saying earlier about celebrating yourself, about acknowledging your own strengths. And if you see here in this card, there's this person with this wreath, and then it is a moment of celebration, and you have this person's followers behind them. So it sort of gives us a feeling that um, you're being celebrated. There's something that you've done well, and now those efforts are truly being acknowledged. Um, you're feeling praised for whatever efforts you've been putting in so far, and everything that you've done so far. And not just that, but even people around you are really acknowledging your your presence, they're acknowledging how much of an impact you've actually created. So what I feel here is maybe in the past there has been this sense of not feeling respected enough, and this is something that you're craving, that to get actual validation, to get acceptance. And now here's where it gets little tricky, because what I feel, what I sense from these cards is maybe on some level right now you're at crossroads, you're in between two options, and you're trying to see for yourself which is the best path forward. And maybe a specific career opportunity or something has come up which is making you think whether I should leave what I'm doing currently and move into something else, because that might be giving you a very direct sort of sense of gratification or acknowledgement. Like again, for some reason, the advertising, marketing, that sort of example is coming to me. So for those of you who are actually in that field, maybe this is a direct message for you, and for others, maybe this is just an example that you can apply to your situation. So, for example, if you're in a job like that, and there has been a couple of challenging projects or challenging team leaders or bosses that you've had to work with, and you've really put in a lot of effort, and the job is also something that you really like, and you've put your um, soul into it, and you've really worked hard towards it, but there hasn't been a proper external acknowledgement, or maybe there has been um, a sort of undeserved criticism on some level. And on the other hand, there's another opportunity that you've found, which is giving you this instant source of gratification. It's giving um, you the validation that you were desiring, like maybe mm, posting content on social media and getting instant likes, comments, follows, whatever that might be. And that surely gives you this boost in your confidence. But at the same time, the question then arises that at the moment, is it fully, truly, practically feasible that like completely let go of the job that you already have and you step into this new sort of venture which is not entirely sustainable? Like things like these take their own time to grow, to come to sort of create the desired results for you. So just try to pause and question if on any level you've been making a certain decision because of instant gratification or instant validation instead of being true to your true purpose, to your true life purpose. So that is one thing that I would advise you to reflect on, and then see what comes up for you and what changes that you would like to make. um, and here with this five of wands, I see a bit of conflict or sort of misaligned energy. Like this sort of gives me an idea where a situation where different people have different opinions and they're not able to see they're not on the same page, they're not able to find common ground, so it's getting really difficult for them to come to terms with it, come to peace with it. And that's actually like these two cards are in complete sort of contradiction to each other, because here we have this energy of mismatch, of not really getting along, whereas with the Three of Pentacles, here we have this energy of a community or a team where a lot of learning takes place, where a lot of growth can happen. So maybe what I feel at the moment for you is, when it comes to your career, when it comes to working towards your life purpose, there is this sense of maybe you are already on the right path, you're on the right track when it comes to what you're doing, and that is something that will lead you towards your life purpose. But the reason that you're questioning this path as a whole, or this career as a whole, or this field maybe as a whole, is not because of the work itself, because of the job itself, but maybe because of the people that you're surrounded with, the kind of environment that you've had around you. And maybe again, you can see if this applies in your situation, but maybe it's not a complete change in the field or area of work that's going to help you, but shifting to a new environment or moving to a new team. So it can be something as simple as being in your existing job but taking on a different role, which would allow you to work with a different set of people, with a different, maybe a different leader or just a different community. Or actually, for some of you, what I also feel is maybe if right now you're working alone, you're doing things by yourself, maybe that can also be something. Actually, that also makes sense that if for some of you, if you're working alone, if you're working by yourself, maybe that is also something that is this cause of discontentment for you. Because when you're working for yourself, you naturally don't have a very direct feedback from a team or from a leader. It's very much self-directed, so you don't really get a real input about how good you're performing unless you're working with someone else, and they, whether it's a client or a service that you're providing, and you're doing everything by yourself. So your success depends on how much you've impacted the client, their feedback, or how many sales that you've made, things like that. So maybe if that is a source of discontentment for you, then maybe the advice here to be to find a supportive community, or maybe to either join someone else's team, or if you have your own business, then maybe bringing along someone else in your team who will help you in this journey. So for pile number two, what I feel is like a couple of different situations here. First of all, if you are a student, if you're in a mode of learning, then maybe this question of am I in the right path is not because of you've made a wrong decision when it comes to the path that you've chosen, the course that you've chosen, the field that you've chosen, but just because your immediate environment or surrounding at the moment isn't as supportive. And second, for people who are already in a job, or if you're thinking of jumping into something completely new, for those of you, I'll advise to at least hold on for a while, pause for a while, and to reflect whether what is the reason for you to shift, to move to a different kind of work. Is it really that the work in itself isn't fulfilling, or is it that your environment in itself is making it difficult for you? And third, as I mentioned, if there's people who work for themselves, if it's a self-driven project, self-driven job, or the nature of your job in itself is such that you don't really have a team or a community of people around you, then for those of you, I feel you might benefit from thinking of other opportunities where you can get this opportunity to work with other people, to have someone else's views and opinions also on board with you. And coming to the three of pentacles, I feel that in the, at least in the month, in the next month, or if you're watching this reading right now in October 2022, then maybe by the end of this year or the beginning of new year, I feel that you are going to be in a period where you're learning all over again, or maybe um, you are in a phase where you're learning to how to do something from scratch, like if it's a new business that you want to start with a team or a community around you, then you're learning how to do everything from just the basics. And for those of you who feel that you might benefit from changing the environment that you're in by staying with the exact or like the same job or the same field that you're in, for those of you, you might feel that you're getting to know more people, you're learning from them, you're sort of not alone in this journey. This card definitely comes as a reassurance that whatever path that you choose moving forward, you're not alone in it. You will receive a lot of mentorship, lot of guidance who will make this path really easy for you moving forward. And finally, with the chariot card, so first of all, this is also the card for cancer season. So if maybe if some of you have the sun sign of cancer, or maybe if it's in your charts, then this can be a direct message for you that your career ahead is going to be full of a lot of success and will require a lot of determination on your part. And the second message for this is in terms of the timeline. So um, based on whenever you're watching, if I feel that by the cancer season, which is like around June, July, so around that time there is going to be a significant change that happens for you. And for those of you who are asking the question that when should I make a certain change when it comes to my career, then maybe for you the guidance is to wait for cancer season, if that is something that you feel applies for you in your specific situation. If you feel that that is too far away or too soon for me, then maybe this message is not for you. But if for someone in pile 2, if you feel that July is a significant date for you, that by this time maybe you have to submit your applications, or you have to apply for interviews or jobs, or maybe an opportunity is opening up in July, then maybe for you this message could be to wait till that time before you make a certain decision. And in general, the chariot here it gives me the message that moving ahead in your path. So here's like there's two messages here. First is whatever path that you choose, whatever path that you're on, just moving forward in general will require a lot of courage, a lot of determination on your part. And something that I feel is maybe lacking, or something that you feel you want to work more on, is discipline and consistency. Maybe the what I was saying here with the five of wands, if you feel that there's too much that you're doing at once, or maybe you also feel that I have too many interests and I'm not able to choose what exactly to do. So there, having a bit of focus, having a bit of discipline, having some consistency in the work that you're doing will help you narrow down your options, and it will lead you down the right path. So make sure that you're using your focus in the right way, you're directing your energy in the right direction instead of being too exhausted because you're trying to do too many things at once. So that's something to take note of, and to make sure that you're cautious about that moving forward. And now for the next part of the reading, I'll be using this the Archetype deck by Krans, and this is to get a sense of what resources or what tools, what archetype, what strengths do you have to work on to reach closer to your life purpose. And at the same time, it can also give us very direct answers about what your life purpose truly is. So let's see what messages we have for you. Two more cards, please, related to life purpose and career. What guidance do we have when it comes to life purpose and career? So here we have your cards, and I'll actually also turn this around. All right, so coming to your archetype cards, first we have the animal. So this card here, again, as I said, maybe for some of you it's very directly related to your career, to your life purpose. You might be actually working with animals on some level, but again, it doesn't have to be so literal. For if this doesn't literally apply for you, then I feel this card, it gives us a sense of maybe there are certain passions that you have, something that feels so natural for you that when you're doing that particular activity, when you're doing that particular job, it sort of fulfills this need within you, and that really drives you forward. But on some level, you were thinking that that's not a feasible career option, or I can't build my career around it. It's not going to be as beneficial for me. So for those of you, I feel this animal card here comes as sort of a almost giving yourself the permission to have desires, to have needs, to be okay with the fact that maybe the current situation, the current career that you're in right now isn't really fulfilling every need that you have, and there's some deeper passions that you really want to tap into. And um, for some reason, for pile number two, I'm also getting a message of fame when it comes to your life purpose. And again, if that is something that you feel is for you, or that's something that you want to strive towards, then I feel pile number two that maybe it's time to actually think a bit deeper about that. Maybe right now it's this entire idea of fame, maybe you've not really thought about that at all, or maybe it's just a passing thought that you have that I really want to be famous. And again, famous not just in the sense of like having a lot of followers or being a celebrity or anything of that sort, but fame also in the sense of this aspect of recognition that I was talking about earlier, like having your work recognized. And for some of you, I'm actually getting the message that maybe you want to publish something, either it's becoming a published writer, becoming a published poet, writing your own book, or publishing your own academic research, being an author of some sort, or just fame through these means, or again, for some of you, if it's actual fame in the sense of becoming a celebrity or becoming popular. So, if on any level you've had these desires, but you've completely shut them down just because of the fact that they seem too impractical or they seem too ambitious, then this card comes as a guidance for you to not hold yourself back when it comes to dreaming. Like, just allow yourself to dream, allow yourself to explore, allow yourself to have desires which might not seem too feasible, but there's still certain things that make you happy. So that's the first message for you. And second, coming to the the maiden card here, this this imagery, this card, it connects with the three of pentacles card that we had earlier. This card gives me the message that maybe um you've had a certain path for a really long time, and or maybe you've had a certain idea in your mind for a long time that this is what I envision myself doing, this is where I see myself going. But maybe on some level you don't feel too satisfied with it, or maybe there's just something new that you want to try out, or some change that you want to create in the path that you're currently on. And this connects with the three of pentacles, because even the three of pentacles was about this energy of learning, of being a student all over again. So this maiden, which sort of is the maiden woman archetype, the Virgin Mary, sort of a like the Virgin archetype, in the sense that when you've not had too many experiences, when you've not really when you've not really explored your own desires, you've not really stepped into to stepped into in terms of realizing what exactly is it that makes you feel fulfilled, that makes you feel that your needs are met. So that's where, and this actually, I want to mention this card here, which for you is the Seven of Swords, and this again is the Swiss tarot deck, which has imagery which is a bit different from the traditional Rider Waite. So the Seven of Swords here, actually, I see that in relation to the maiden card here. Like, this is seven, and then we have the eight cards. So on some level, like in the traditional tarot deck, the Seven of Wands that has the Seven of Swords has this imagery of some form of challenge, some discomfort, some dishonesty on some level, that you're not being true to yourself. So maybe for pile number two, for you, on some level, you've been denying yourself of a certain path that you want to follow, and for some reason, you're just not able to um, accept for yourself that that is the path for me, or that is something that will give me joy. And that could be for any reason. Maybe it's practical considerations that are holding you back, or maybe you have the question that will this path, will it give me the money, the resources that I need to sustain myself. And obviously these are very practical considerations to have, but at the same time, these are like, this is where I want to sort of also make the distinction between career and life purpose. So when it comes to our career, we see that in a very, like, in practical terms, in earthly terms, so to say, that very connected to what's in the here and now, what do we see, and we see that as something just related to the job that we're doing or the specific tasks that we have. But when we think about life purpose, it's a lot more broader than that. It's about what impact are we creating in the world around us, what changes are we bringing about. And it doesn't always have to be something too grand or something too monumental, but just what has been your contribution, or in what ways have you used your strengths, your resources to change something around you. And life purpose is a lot more deeper than just the career that we have. It You could be in a 9 to 5 simple job working at a desk all day, but your life purpose is something entirely different, which you work towards in a different manner. So what I see here is, by number two, for you, I feel that maybe for you, your the exact career that you're doing might not be completely related to your life purpose. And I'm saying that because I feel that when it comes to your career, there's a certain path that you're already on, and definitely see in what ways is it serving you, is it helpful for you, and then also ask the question that um, is there any new learning that I have to add on to my experience to make this a more fruitful journey for me. And secondly, when it comes to your life purpose, which is a bit deeper than just the career that you're in right now, for that, I want you to ask yourself that am I placing too many expectations on the career that I have at the moment? Am I um, like, do I feel that I have a lot of needs that are not being fulfilled, but I am trying to achieve all of those needs with this job that I have? And maybe the source of your discontentment has been because your life purpose is something entirely different, and that's not the same as your career at the moment. And that actually connects with the Five of Wands here, that these conflicting energies or this sense of not being on the same page, maybe that's just because for you your career is serving different purposes, whereas your life purpose is something that's going to serve something else for you. And actually, this the message that I just relayed, that also connects with this Three of Pentacles card, because maybe this pentacle aspect, this pentacle suit that we have in tarot, this career aspect, maybe that in your life is going to serve a different purpose of finding this community, finding the right people around you. And for those of you who've not who's if you are not really in an established relationship so far, or if you're looking for partner, I feel that the specific purpose that your career or the job at the present that's going to serve for you is to bring yourself closer to that person. And when it comes to your life purpose, it could be something entirely different, and which is why I want you to just tap into your own values, and what are the things that you value, what are the things that drive you, that move you forward. And maybe your life purpose could be something completely related to that. And with that, I actually want to move to your last archetype card, which is the Destroyer. So here, and it's interesting that this symbol of an animal's eye, like this card has that the eye, it's a single animal's eye, and this card, if you look closely, there's two animal eyes on them. So here again, I feel that with the Destroyer, I feel that you have a lot of um, wishes, you have a lot of dreams, a lot of urges, or a lot of ideas and hopes, which maybe on some level you've had to let them die, you've had to just let go of them because you were told by the world around you that that's not something feasible, or that's not something realistic, or you have to do something else to sustain yourself. And maybe with time you have also convinced yourself that I'm not allowed to dream big, I'm not allowed to have these bigger ambitions for myself. And that has led you to this place right now where you're questioning your career and life purpose, and you're feeling not entirely content with what's going on at the moment when it comes to your career. But I feel that on some level, this actually connects with the Hierophant card that we had in the beginning. So I feel that if it's the society around you, if it's the institute around you, organization, whether it's what a particular teacher said sometime in the past, that this is not something that you can ever do, or you have to think about it practically, or maybe society as a whole has taught you certain things, or not just that, maybe the culture that you belong to and the messages that you've received from them is something that has convinced you that I can't dream big enough, or I have to dream within certain limits. And the this sort of this boundary that I see in this card is making me think of um like trying to restrict ourselves, like this is our actual potential, these rays that are coming out from this card, the coins that I see, that are outside of the circle, is what I feel is what you truly meant to do, what where you truly meant to reach, but you've convinced yourself that you can't reach there. And that has really taken a toll on your own self, like self worth, self efficacy, and you've you've created a certain narrative around your life that I can't do a certain thing or I have to stick with what I'm doing currently. And that connects with this card of which I feel to me speaks about dishonesty, that we've been dishonest to our own selves. We've not honored our own truths when it comes to our life purpose, that there's something that we feel on some level, whether it's intuitive or just you have this gut feeling or just this sense that I am meant to do something, but you've been dishonest to yourself. You've denied yourself of that path just because, whether it's what others have told you or just this restriction or this boundary that you've put around yourself. And there's a lot more beyond that that is going to uh, be something that keeps that drives you forward. And now it is the time to come into your power to truly break free of this circle and the destroyer. So sort of destroy the boundaries that you've created for yourself and connecting to life purpose on a bigger scale, on a much more impactful way. What I see here is, for pile number two, I feel that one of the major lessons that you're meant to learn in this lifetime when it comes to your life purpose is to break free of the boundaries that you've created for yourself, or maybe just the boundaries that have been imposed upon you from society or from people around you. So one major challenge is to break free of that. And again, whenever we talk about life purpose, or I don't know if you're familiar with the concept of ikigai, which is this Japanese principle that also talks about purpose. So definitely, even within ikigai, there is a sense of what what pays, what will make give us money, what is sustainable, and also at the same time, what gives us joy, what is something that drives us. And another major aspect of that is also the impact that we create in the world around us. What does the world need, and how does our abilities and capacities connect with that to be able to make a change around our world. So I also feel with this destroyer card that you're not just breaking free of the boundaries in your personal life, but you're also stepping into a career or a profession where you're helping other people also step out of these boundaries. So it could be any um, path that you feel is challenging the norms or challenging what's existing. I also feel that for pile number two, maybe the eventual path that you would that awaits you sort of at the moment could also be something to do with reform. Like there is maybe some existing system institution, whether it's education or um, a particular sort of way in which people have been leading others or whatever that is, and your life purpose connects on some level with creating changes, creating reform, sort of breaking what is not working anymore, destroying what is not working anymore to be able to create something else, to be able to almost give birth to something new to come. And that will require, like, the imagery of the animal eyes on both of these cards tell me that there is going to be an aspect where you really have to uh, be like, obviously we have to be human and we have to sort of take care of ethics and morality and things like that, and there's certain limits that we have to be within. But at the same time, when we talk about changing the world or um, sort of defeating the existing systems, that takes a lot of courage, that takes a lot of power, and that asks of us to tap into this animalistic energies within us, which is this fury, this passion to do something, to truly achieve what we have in mind. If there's a need or a desire that we have, what can we do to truly reach there? So for pile number two, I feel that you have a lot of greatness that lies ahead of you, and you're really going to be someone who creates a lot of impact in the world around you. Maybe whether it's just something as simple as your immediate community or the people directly around you, or maybe on a much larger scale. But there's definitely a lot to do with creating impact for others, and that can only happen once you've tapped into your own strengths, your own abilities. So there's a beautiful journey of growth and learning that lies ahead of you. Just make sure that you followed all the guidance that I mentioned in the reading. So here's where I'll end the reading for you, pile number two. Do let me know in the comments down below if this reading resonated, if there's a specific message that connected with you, or if there's anything else that you would like to share. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel if you want to uh, just watch more of similar content. So thank you so much for joining me today, and have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next reading. Hello and welcome to your reading pile number 3. If you chose this pink flower, then this is your reading, and we'll first start off with the tarot cards, then to see what guidance is there when it comes to your career and life purpose. And then we'll also look at your archetype cards to see further guidance that you need in this aspect of your life, and how you can use those to come a bit closer to your life purpose, to your career. So we'll just start off with tarot. All right, pile number 3. So first of all, right off the bat, there's two major arcana cards here, which tells me that definitely this is a very crucial point in your life when it comes to your career, and there's a lot of reflection and thinking that you've been doing, and maybe also on some level there is a bit of disappointment when it comes to your career. You feel not entirely fulfilled, or maybe I feel a question that's coming up for you is just thinking about, why am I doing what I'm doing? Is that something that's truly fulfilling for me, or am I just doing things for the sake of it? Whether it's an academic program that you're enrolled in, a specific course that you're doing, an internship, a job, or an opportunity that you've just accepted, or also not just that, but if for some of you, if you are in a phase where you're not actively working on something and you're looking for opportunities, there's definitely some sense of disappointment. And maybe for some of you, it's really something that's very emotionally difficult and challenging, and has really it's been worrying you a lot. And maybe for the rest of you, it's not something as major, but just some discomfort, some sense of not feeling fully aligned with your path. And again, this is something that I mentioned in the reading for pile number 2 as well, but I'll say it again. Though I mentioned the book, the concept of ikigai, which is a Japanese philosophy which tells us how our life purpose is different from our career. So yes, our career, our profession can be a part of our life purpose, but it's much more than that. Like we think of our purpose in life as just something related to the job that we're doing, how we're making money, and that's the end of it. But purpose goes much more beyond that. It has to do with how are we honoring our true skills, our strengths, and our capacities to make changes in our own lives, to learn, to grow, and to also make changes for the people around us, for the community. And again, it doesn't have to be something as grand as making a difference in the world, or creating a monumental shift in the world around you. It can be something on a much smaller scale, but still there's an impact that your work, that your presence is creating. So for that matter, I feel that maybe for pile number 3 for you, I feel on some level there is a sense of discontentment, or a source of discomfort for you, because you feel that the career that you're in right now, or the path that you've chosen for yourself right now, is not entirely um, it doesn't entirely feel that this is what I'm meant to do. Maybe, some of you are actually asking this exact question, that is this what I'm meant to do? Or maybe you're not even aware of what exactly you have to do, and you keep questioning that, is this what I'm meant to do? And maybe there's an opportunity or an offer that comes your way, or maybe a new course that you find about, or something new to learn. But the first thing that keeps holding you back from that is just questioning that, is this actually it for me? And um, like for pile number 3, what I also want to tell you is, maybe on some level you really um maximizing the impact of your decisions. Like if I try to explain this better, there is this sense of this feeling that the decision that I'm making right now is going to make or break your career, that I really have to choose wisely, otherwise everything will go wrong. Or maybe you're overthinking about it a lot in terms of like, is this the specific course to do, is this the specific job to take which will lead me to where I want to be, and that's creating a lot of undue stress on you. And that's because we need to realize that when it comes to career, and that's why this reading is not about a job or a profession or something like that, because jobs, these are temporary. We keep stepping in and out of different roles. We might change our paths. One thing might lead to something else. And career and life purpose goes a bit beyond that, a level beyond that, because it's looking at not just the specific work that we're doing, but the entire journey of it. So, first of all, try to let go of this heavy burden of this decision that you have to make. Let go of this faulty thinking that one decision of mine can really make or break my career, and it can and maybe also this fear that if I make a wrong decision, then I will never be able to reach where I want to, or I won't be able to fulfill my true purpose. So if that is something that's causing a lot of stress for you, then right now it's time to realize that that is not serving you anymore. And how can you let go of these unrealistic expectations that you've set up for yourself, which are causing disappointment? And again, I don't want to place the blame entirely on you, because the society around us, the world around us also plays a role in that, because it drills this idea within us that we have to follow a certain timeline when it comes to our career, and we have to be something by a certain age, we have to accomplish something by a certain age. And that really messes us up, because we set these unrealistic expectations for ourselves which might not be compatible with our own personal journey. So with that disappointment, I know that it can be a very difficult experience, and I truly acknowledge and validate those feelings, but there's still a lot of opportunity to grow for you, and we'll come to that. The second card that we have for you is the Three of Wands here, and this tells me that right now you're at a juncture where you're thinking about what to do, where to go, where to invest my energy, or maybe you've applied for a couple of things and now you're waiting to hear back from them. And maybe there is also a sense of restlessness after having to wait for so long and not getting immediate results, not getting your desired results. And I would actually say that yes, it can be very frustrating to just wait around for things to happen, for things to shift. But at the same time, I would also suggest to reflect on how can you use this time wisely. That okay, there is this period of waiting now, but what else can you do with it? Is there maybe other things that you can look into? Maybe something something new that you discover about yourself. And that is also one of the reasons why our exact life purpose isn't stuck to one specific job, is because we as human beings, we're constantly evolving, we're constantly growing, we're stepping from one thing to the next. We do something, we are in a specific job in a specific field, and we learn something from it. We that that changes us in a way, and that also changes our priorities, our needs, our values. We might reflect on these things and we find that something else is a bit more feasible. So this period of waiting that you have at the moment, or even for those of you who, if you feel that this doesn't apply for you, but the message sort of stays the same, that how can I reflect at the moment, that what are these other opportunities around me, what like, sort of to explain this better, like there's a path that you've been following for a while, and like at the starting of the path you had this idea that this is where I want to reach. But as you've been taking steps forward, there's new things that have happened here, new learning that has taken place here, and maybe those learnings have shown you that okay, there's another path as well. But just because you feel that like I have to reach from here to here, you've been convincing yourself that no, I can't look in another direction, or I've committed to this thing, so I can't change it now. So if that is a fear that's coming up for you, or that's something that's holding you back, I would advise you to first of all let go of any of these unrealistic expectations that you have to be only one thing. or you have to stick to what you've chosen, and there's no option to break free or to discover new things for yourself. And secondly, ask you to reflect on I would also ask you to reflect on how can you bring yourself closer to, like, what I was saying earlier, that there's new things that you've learned and that's opened up a new path for you. So how can you make your journey from that to there? And I feel called to pull out this card for you. Okay, yes, that makes a lot of sense, because here we have the Page of Wands, and this is actually the Swiss tarot deck that I got from Switzerland recently, the one JJ Swiss tarot. And here the imagery is a bit different from our typical Rider Waite deck. So, what I was saying, that you're from point A to point B, this is what you've decided for yourself, that this is where I want to go. But because of recent experiences, recent learnings, or recent things that you've discovered, you found the example that I gave, that now you feel that maybe another direction is better for you. And it's sort of this stories coming together for me, that you're you're moving from this energy of Three of Wands to a Page of Wands. This Page of Wands for me, it sort of signifies a shift that's taking place, or a shift that we have to create in our life, something new that has to happen, something old that we have to forego, that we have to let go of, and step into the energy of something new, something refreshed. So um, I'll try to give my own example here, that when I started my own personal professional journey, I was studying psychology in high school, and I did my bachelor's in psychology as well. And initially I had this plan in mind that I would become either a clinical or a counseling psychologist. But with the 2 years of the pandemic, doing my final year online, and then taking a gap year after that, discovering what else is there to me, to my own experiences, to where I see myself going. Things changed around a lot, and my path from doing everything psychology related to doing something in clinical or counseling psychology, it steered away a little bit. It went into a different direction, and I stepped into the field of expressive arts therapy, which feels as something very true to me. So again, even for yourself, if you feel that a compulsion on any level, that just because I have chosen this, I have committed to this, I now need to keep going on that path forward. That's not at all how most people's career trajectories work in the real life. We keep constantly growing, learning, evolving. We learn new things about ourselves, and then we have to honor these changes within us. And we also um, with the Three of Swords, I also feel that maybe on some level, uh, this emotional pain is not because of something external, but because you have sort of you've held yourself back from making this change, because you feel that now that I've committed to it, I can't make a change, and it's making you feel guilty, or maybe you're regretting the choices that you've taken. So, first of all, be compassionate towards yourself. Accept that we learn, we grow, we evolve, our priorities change, we discover new things, and that leads us towards new path. And that's the true for our career as well, our journey towards our life purpose as well. So, first of all, let go of any of that regret that you're holding with you, that just because I've chosen this, now I have to do this. And secondly, with this acceptance that okay, I am allowed to grow, I am allowed to learn, I am allowed to discover new things. Now there's this the Page of Wands, which is the card that you chose for pile number 3. So this card gives me a sense that now it's time to shift your energies, to move into something else. And the even the Suit of Wands in tarot, it talks about movement and change, and things changing on a very physical practical level, whether it's um, moving to a new location, changing the course that you're doing, or you know uh, either physically moving, or just making a change from what you're doing into something else, or adding something else into what you're currently doing. So definitely for pile number 3, in the other piles, I didn't get a very clear message about like really changing what you're doing. There were certain things to reflect on or to change, but for you, pile number 3, I get a very strong sense of creating an actual change in your life when it comes to your career and life purpose. And that is why I feel that there's also the Fool card here, which is number 0, the first card in Major Arcana. And this card is all about this taking a leap of faith and just jumping into something new, and like making a decision, deciding to go that way, and sort of, like here, I also want to talk about this aspect of control that we have in our lives, that we really feel like we want to control every single aspect of our lives. We depend a lot on certainty and predictability of things around us. So we might feel that following a certain path, again, like I'm using my own example here, but from this journey, from doing psychology and then wanting to eventually step into clinical or counseling psychology, it felt very predictable. There's very clear examples for that. There's a very clear path to follow to get there, and it's very predictable, it's controllable, and it's also in some ways a lot more conventional. But on some level, my experiences told me something else. Internally, I felt that there's another path that was more suited for me, so I chose that direction and I'm working on that direction. But at the same time, I with this path, there's lesser certainty. I'm still constantly learning, and I'm trying to discover new things to change, new things to add on to my learning, new things that can help me in this path forward. So in the Fool actually talks about that you take a decision, you honor your calling, purpose, whatever you might call it, and you jump into that. It is definitely something risky, and I know that we can't, for many of us, we just can't make a decision to quit or to start something entirely else and invest in it. Obviously, practical considerations are there, and that's something that we need to look into. But at the same time, we also need to honor our own calling, our own purpose, and to constantly keep striving towards that. So for pile number 3, what I feel is at least the next couple of months, and from whenever you're watching the reading, I feel that there is a change that's coming in your way, and it will need a lot of courage on your part to let go of control, to be okay with the fact that the path that you've chosen is not entirely predictable. Accepting that there is going to be a lot of uncertainty on this path. And I actually want to point out that right now, as I'm recording, my recorder was at 2323. So that comes down to 55. And 5 is a number of change in numerology and tarot, and 5 and 5 coming together. 10, 1 is about new beginnings. So I really see this aspect of change that I was talking about, this movement, this shifting into something else. And even with the Fool, the new beginnings that I was talking about. So definitely for you, pile number 3, I feel that or change lies ahead in your path. You have to honor your calling and to just take this leap of faith. And with this, it might seem a bit risky, but if you look at the card here, the even though the Fool is taking this leap of faith and just like letting go of control, leaving it up to the universe to sort of lead him to the right path. But there's also this white dog here, and this sort of is an assurance, a guidance that yes, take this leap of faith. It is going to be scary. It is going to be intimidating, but at the same time, you'll have the guidance that you need to help you on this journey moving forward. And two pages coming together in almost the same position here sort of tells me that, again, page, as I mentioned, first of all, it's about creating changes, creating shifts in our lives, and it's also about in a way, you know pages are sort of the messengers. Like I see them as messengers amongst the court cards. So now is the time to answer these callings. First is actually to see in what ways can you create a real physical change, moving around, doing something else. And also when it comes to the SWOT, so it's about our planning, our intellectual capacities, our thoughts. So on what level can we plan for ourselves that to create this change. But once we've done the planning, once we've chosen a path, then to let go of control, to let the universe do its work to lead you to the path that you're meant to follow. And finally, with the Moon card here, I feel that for pile number 3, there is some self reflection that's needed on your part, and that's coming very strongly for your pile specifically because as I mentioned earlier, there is a sense of discontentment, there is a sense of not really knowing where to go, and there is a lot of things that have held you back. This difference between our life purpose and our career, this what I was saying earlier, that we've set a path for ourselves, that we need to travel from here to here, and even though there have been changes here, we're not allowing ourselves to see what other opportunities are there, what other options are there. And for that, we need this moon card, we need this period of very serious and intense reflection to truly honor what is it that what is it that truly gives us fulfillment. Because again, career, okay, career is something that will give us the money, it will give us independence, sustenance, things like that, very practical things, very much needed in our lives. But if it is something that we're doing out of just a necessity or something, and it's not making us feel fulfilled, then that is a void that will be present for a long, long time. And you will try to keep filling that void, but unless you've addressed the root of the problem, which is why are we doing something that we're doing? What is that reason that we've chosen a path? So there is some reflection needed on that level. And for this, again, as clarification, I'm going to use this archetype deck for you. And here we'll actually use at in relation to this bit of reflection, that what can help you in this period of reflection, what can help you in this journey of coming closer to your life path, coming life purpose, coming closer to what changes that you need to make in your career, in your lives. All right, pile number 3. So um I actually want to start by pointing out how both the village and the mountain card, both of them have imagery of mountains in them. So a very clear sort of message that I again, the mountain is actually also repeated in the Fool card. So maybe for some of you, this can be a very literal and a very direct message that like the change that I was mentioning, this actual movement that you need to think about or reflect upon, that actually moving to some new place. For many of you, I feel that this you might benefit from literally traveling to a mountain, or maybe a place or a country that has mountains. And for some reason, Canada immediately came to mind. And even in Europe, somewhere in Switzerland, or some place that has mountains around, or even within your wherever you are, the closest mountains, the country with mountains. Or maybe if there's like for some of you, if you, what I was saying earlier, that you are on a current path or a current job or something of that sort, but there's an inkling of another opportunity that has presented itself for you. So if for some of you, if that opportunity is actually present in a location that has mountains, then this could be a very direct message for you to consider that place, that option. And for the rest of you, this can be a lot more metaphorical, in the sense that climbing a mountain is not an easy task, and creating a huge shift in our lives again is not easy. It involves a lot of planning, a lot of practical considerations, a lot of looking at logistics of it. And there's a lot that goes, like, you can't just, I know, even though it seems very easy on the Fool card, you can't just pack your bags and just leave one day and decide to step into something completely new. So that obviously is going to be a bit of a challenge, it's going to be a huge mammoth task to accomplish. But at the same time, as I mentioned, with the Fool card, you have all the guidance and support that you need to help you in this journey moving forward. And with the village, I see a village sort of as a community, as a very close knit community, in the sense that um, like what you need is sort of provided by people who are already around you. So with this, I feel that maybe in your immediate setting, in the community that you have at the moment, try to talk to them, try to present your concerns, that okay, this is a change that I'm considering, or this is a new opportunity that has opened up for me, can you help me to process my thoughts? Or maybe it might end up happening that once you do reach out to people, you might find someone who um, is doing the exact new thing that you were thinking of stepping into. Like, even for myself, when I decided to move into expressive arts, I was connecting with other people who are in this field, or who are studying from the same university that I later applied to. So, like, it the village itself, this community, this resource that we have around us, very accessible to us. Maybe people in that community or around you can really help you to make this decision for yourself, to see how feasible it is to create this change for yourself. And with the actual mountain card here, I see that there, in this card, there's not just a mountain but a cave within a mountain. So this card is about a lot of um reflection. And I also see sort of both these cards sort of, even though they both have this imagery of the mountain, but the focus is different. Like seeing these two cards together here, on the village card we have the mountain is darker, it's in the background, and the rest of it is in the foreground. But here the mountain is brightly lit, it is the center of our attention, and everything else is sort of not in focus. So the duality of this tells me that you need to tap into the resources that you have in the community around you and the people around you. But at the same time, you also need a period of self reflection. Like, how can you attain a balance where you're reaching out to resourceful people, you're asking them for tips to help you in this journey of career and life purpose, but at the same time, you're not getting too bogged down by everyone else's opinions. Everyone else might have different things to say. For example, you ask them that this is like so and so is a new field that I want to go into, or something new that I want to try. Someone might come with a very positive experience and tell you that that's a very good thing to do, a very good change to bring about in your life. And someone else might tell you that that's the worst decision that you could ever make. So now, how do you try to make a decision for your own self? So that's why this period of self reflection is also needed to connect into what feels right for you, what feels like the best move for you, what feels like it's something that truly empowers you. It shouldn't feel like a very exhausting decision to make or a very exhausting path to follow, because that is sort of, if you feel yourself exhausted by just thinking about a certain decision or a change to make, then maybe on some level that's intuitively your body is trying to communicate to you that that is not the right thing for you. But on the other hand, if just thinking about changing your field, your career, moving to something entirely different fills you with a lot of joy and a lot of hope, then maybe on some level you intuitively know that that's the right thing for you, and that is filling you with a lot of hope. And for the last card, the animal card, this actually came in the previous pile as well. So if that's something that you want to look into, maybe that reading might also be something that you resonate with. But as I said in the previous pile, the animal card here tells me that there are deeper desires that you have, deeper passions that you have, that you want to follow, that you want to step into, but for some reason you've been holding yourself back. And holding yourself back hasn't done much for you, it has just caused you pain, this, or even these feelings of regret, feeling that I made a wrong choice or I stepped into something that isn't going to serve me. So now with the animal card, you need to connect with this passion within you. You need to stand up for yourself, you need to be very grounded when it comes to um, taking decisions. And again, this connects to the message that I gave previously about um like that, yes, you do reach out to your community, you ask for their help and their opinion, but they give you differing opinions, or they give you very different ideas about the choice that you're about to make. So there, tap into your own intuition, tap into your own feeling of groundedness. And for some reason with animals, I also connect a lot with, like, they don't have um, the exact form of language that we do. They do communicate, they have their languages in their own sense, but human language is very different from that. And for animals, they're a lot more connected to the senses. And even for many animals, their senses are what helps them communicate or navigate in the world. So for you, I feel that maybe on some level, this connects with the page of swords card here, that the swords, first of all, is about our thinking, about our mind, about our power to make decisions, think logically. But the sorry, the clouds here sort of make me think of your judgment or thinking being a lot more cloudy, and you're not able to see your path forward. Or maybe your words have failed you, thinking has failed you. There's no rational or logical reason that that you're able to give yourself to convince yourself that it's best for me to change my path. So that's where I would ask you to connect deeper with your senses, with your own body, with your own urges, because they are our best sources of information. Things that our minds, that are brains, that our thoughts might not be able to solve for us, that's where our senses can play a huge role in shifting things around for us and giving us the insight that we've been lacking. So for that, I will urge you to either meditate or try a couple of things that helps you get in touch with your body, or with the three of swords earlier, maybe, if there's any, again, take this message only if it resonates, but if for some of you you've been also facing health issues in addition to your other experiences, maybe try to see if that health issue, what is that trying to convey you. Is it that you are not fulfilled, or you're not satisfied in where you are in life right now when it comes to your career and life purpose, and a lot of your, like, sickness or health issues might not be related to a very direct physical cause, but it's just this emotional pain, or this sense of unfulfillment that you're sitting with, which is causing you those health issues. So how can you connect deeper with your own body? Try to see your body as a messenger of things that are going wrong within, and then see how you can address that. So if you're facing health issues specifically, so first message again, if see if there's an actual vacation that you can take, a break that you can take to go elsewhere, preferably mountains if that's something that suits you, or any other vacation, any other place that you can go to, or just a little break for a while. And then also with the animal card, I feel that now it's time to truly get in touch with your senses. Give yourself some time to just practice mindfulness. If you want to connect with, like, go for a walk without your phone for a while and just connect with the sounds of nature. Be mindful about the steps that you are taking. Come into your body, fully embody yourself, and I feel that's going to be something that really benefits you. And again, I'm not saying this just because the story that I shared about my own journey about stepping into expressive arts, but I feel if that's something you want to explore or learn about, I would definitely encourage you to read about it, because I feel with the animal card, this whole notion of senses, tapping into your senses, is something that I really feel is going to help you a lot. And sort of a final guidance for you is there's a very bright future that lies ahead for you. There's a lot of growth and learning that you're going to encounter, and your life purpose in itself is also filled with coming into your senses, being a sensitive person to who helps people around you in your own community, and again, who's also not afraid to take risks. Because I feel that for your pile specifically, um, I feel that for you, the journey that lies ahead of you is not a linear one. It's not something that is very straightforward or very conventional in that sense. And that can be a bit scary, because we, as humans, we like things to be predictable. We like things to be in our control. But for you, I feel there's going to be a bit of trial and error. And even as a person, you're going to keep evolving throughout your life. And that is going to create so many shifts and changes for you. So just make sure that you're honoring those changes. You're um, accepting parts of yourselves that are changing, and whichever direction that you're guiding into, make sure that you're tapping into that and then making the changes accordingly. And you'll, each and every day, you're going to step closer to your life purpose. So I'm really hopeful for you, and thank you so much for joining in for today's reading. Don't forget to let me know in the comments below if this reading resonated, or any other topic that you would like me to read on. And don't forget to like the video and also subscribe to my channel to stay tuned for more. So bye bye, and thank you so much for joining in today.